New to Photoshop but intimidated by all the tools and menus and just not sure where to start? Well, don't be. Today we will go over everything from creating your first project to saving and exporting your final work, as well as everything in between to help you get started. So let's not waste another minute and let's open up Photoshop. Hello and welcome to Faded Neon. I'm Zach Hefner and today we're going to take a look at how to get started in Photoshop. As soon as you open Photoshop, you're greeted with the home screen. Here you can start new projects or continue previous ones. You can also drag and drop a photo saved on your computer onto this page to begin working directly on it. To start, we're going to click on Create New. This will open a new box where we can define the parameters of what we'll need for this project. At the top, these tabs will offer presets based on our project's needs. If you need something specific for web, print, or video, these presets are great starting points. You can also save your own presets to use for future projects. For today, we're going to go to Web and click on Large 1920 by 1080. On the right side, we'll see the parameters of this profile. At the top, we'll name this file Wacom. Of course, feel free to name it whatever you would like. You can change the width and height however you'd like for this project's needs. Resolution is how many pixels there are per inch. 72 is standard for web graphics. Anything higher is used more for projects that will be printed. The Pixels drop-down menu is for how your document is measured. Usually we'll keep it at pixels. Orientation is based on your height and width. Artboards, if checked, will start your project out as an artboard. You can add multiple artboards within a project in case you need to make quick mockups for, say, different social media banners that all require different dimensions. Artboards is a quick way to set them up all in one project. We'll discuss that in a later tutorial. The Pixels Inch drop-down menu defines how we want our pixels in metrics or imperial form. Color mode defines how your colors are mixed. RGB is web-based and how screens show color, and will be used for most of our projects. CMYK is for print and will be used when creating graphics that will be printed. The bit depth drop-down menu defines how many bits you want your image to be. It tells how many colors are used per pixel. 8-bit is standard. 16 is better for raw photos and heavy editing for more control. 32-bit is used when making high dynamic range photos and is rarely used. Background contents. You can change the color of your background or have it transparent. Transparent backgrounds are great if you want to do something like save a logo you will embed on websites or clothing where you don't want a bordered, colored background. Under Color Profile, we'll see different color spaces we can apply to our project. We'll go over these in another tutorial. For now, we'll keep it at working RGB. Pixel aspect ratio defines how pixels are stretched for monitors and such. Usually you will never change this and it will always keep it as square pixels. Finally, at the top, this arrow allows us to save our information here as a preset in case you're working on multiple projects with the same parameters. It saves a lot of time instead of going through this menu each time. For this project, we're going to keep everything as is and click Create. So here we are on Photoshop's main interface. First you'll notice a white canvas. This is where you'll do all your work at. The gray space around it is the workspace background. If you right-click on the background, you can change the color. White is good to see what your photo might look like on social media. Darker colors are good contrast to help you see what you're doing accurately. If you go to Edit, Preferences, Interface, you can also change the colors of the interface itself. Right now our canvas is being shown at 100%, which is accurate to its real size. To zoom in, we'll switch to our first tool, the magnifying tool, by hitting Z on your keyboard or clicking the magnifying glass on your toolbar. At the top you'll see three options: 100%, which we are currently viewing, Fit Screen, and Fill Screen. We'll click Fit Screen so we can see everything we're doing. At the bottom left we'll see the status bar. If you click the right arrow you can define what information about your document you want shown. I usually keep it on document size to see how big the file gets the more layers I add to the project. On the left side, we have the toolbar. Each tool serves a different purpose. If you scroll over a tool, a tutorial will pop up briefly explaining what the tool does. If you click on a tool, at the top you can see each tool has different properties which can be changed to fit your needs. Towards the bottom are 3 dots. If you right-click it, many hidden extra tools will appear that you can use. At the top of this list is the option Edit Toolbar. From this window, you can customize your toolbar to keep the tools that you want to be shown on the left and the tools that you don't on the right. You can also save your custom toolbar and load it in case you ever accidentally change it. Many tools with a little arrow next to them, if you right-click them, they will extend to show groups of similar tools. Below the dots are the foreground and background color panels. Clicking on one will bring up the color picker. Here you can choose any color you would like. The foreground color will always be the primary color used when painting. Pressing X will quickly swap between the foreground and background colors. At the top, each tab serves a different function. The File tab is where you'll open, save, and export your projects. The Edit tab allows you to edit aspects of your project or layers such as size or color profile. You can also edit the system information by clicking Preferences at the bottom. This will help optimize Photoshop to work better with your computer. The Image tab allows you to choose the color mode and image size. The Layer tab allows you to choose what kind of layer type you want to add to your layer panel. The Type tab allows you to choose options when using the Type tool to write on your images. The Selection tab allows you to choose different ways to select your subjects and photos to either remove their background or to manipulate them. The Filter tab allows you to add a filter to your layers such as blurs, film grain, and various others. The 3D tab will let you turn a layer into a 3D object so you can manipulate it in a 3D workspace. The View tab allows you to change how you view your canvas. A tip here is to have extras, rulers, and snap checkmarked by clicking on them with snap check to everything. This will bring up these rulers to help measure your distance on your canvas. You can also drag guides from them to help you keep text and objects level. Snap will snap objects to various points on your canvas. You can use this to center something or keep it level with other objects. The Plugins tab is for importing third-party plugins for Photoshop. The Window tab allows you to customize your interface by allowing you to choose what you see and don't see in your interface. Arrange, if you click New Window for Wacom, it will open a copy of your current project. If you then click on 2 up vertical, you can work on one side while seeing the zoomed out version in real time. This is great if you're doing some close-up detailed work and don't want to keep zooming out to see how it looks. Workspace defines what tools and windows are open based on your needs in Photoshop. There's Essentials, Painting, and etc. If you click on one, it will change your entire interface based on what tools it thinks you need. However, once you create your own layout the way you want, you can save your workspace and can load it if it ever changes by accident. Everything below this will open a new window you can append to the right side by dragging and placing it. Each one has its own uses, but most you will never use. The main panel you use is the Layers tab. We will talk about the 3D, channels, and paths tabs in other tutorials. In the Layers tab, this is where all your pixel information will be sorted and cataloged. We will click on the plus icon at the bottom to add a new layer. Always name your layers by double-clicking the name to help find the correct one later. With this layer selected, we can now paint or add pixels onto our canvas. With the brush tool, we'll paint a circle. What we painted is now independent of itself. We can move it, change its opacity, and so on. Independent means we can create another layer over it and paint on top of it. The layer below is unaffected. The tab at the top is the Blend Mode menu. Blend modes change how light and color of the layer blends with the rest of the layers below it. Each group has unique properties and we will discuss it in later tutorials. The FX tab adds effects and blending options to a layer. You can also access this menu by double-clicking the right of the layer. The blending option allows you to change properties to blend with other layers accurately. The rest of the tabs are various effects such as drop shadow. You'll notice a plus sign next to a few of these. This allows you to add a duplicate of the effect, in this case to make a more realistic shadow. The next tab is the adjustment layer. This will create a layer with an effect that allows you to change a layer or your entire project in a certain way. Here, if we use a hue saturation layer and change the hue, we can see all the colors change. But if I place the adjustment layer between the two other layers, only the one below it is affected. As such, if I return the adjustment layer to the top and then right-click it and click on Create Clipping Mask, you'll see a little arrow pointing down on the layer. That means it now only affects the layer directly below it. The next tab is the Add Layer Mask tab. If I add this to a layer, a white box is added to the layer. This box determines what is shown or hidden in this layer using white and black. White reveals this layer, black hides the layer. With the mask selected, if I paint with black over the circle, you'll notice it disappears. If I repaint over this with white, it returns. This is a great way to work non-destructively in Photoshop. Masks are also a great way to keep your details within a selection. If I Control-Command-Click on the layer of the circle, it will be selected. If I click the Add Layer Mask tab to it, you will see the box is mostly black, but white where the circle was selected. Now if we paint on this layer, only inside the circle will we see that's painted. Even if we go outside the circle, nothing will be painted because the black portion of the mask is hiding it. The next tab is the Group Layers tab. With one or more layers selected, you can group them into one file. This is a great way to manage big projects. You can also add a mask to the group itself, as well as change its opacity to affect all the layers inside it. You may notice the Group's Blend mode has added a new mode called Pass-Through. This means any adjustment layer you add in here will also affect the layers below and outside the group. However, if you change this blend mode to normal, they will only affect the layers within the group. Next, we'll delete these layers. You can either right-click and delete them, click the trash can at the bottom right, or drag the layer to the trash can. For this last part, we'll open up a photo. You can download this photo in the description below or load your own. To add a photo to your canvas from your computer, you can either drag the file onto the canvas, or go to File, Place Embedded, find your file, Place, and it will be added to the center of your canvas. When you import a photo, it will be imported as a smart object. We will discuss smart objects in a later tutorial, but for now, all you need to know is that smart objects allow you to size photos without it losing its native resolution. Here we can see around the photo are tiny boxes. These are handles to allow us to control how to size the photo. If you do not see these, or may have clicked outside the photo and lost them, simply press Ctrl-Command+Alt+T. This is a shortcut for transforming your layer. With Alt selected, click the bottom corner and drag it until the photo fits the size of the canvas. Holding Alt and dragging will expand it equally from the center. Hit Enter to place your photo into the canvas. Next, hit T to toggle the Type tool. Click the center of the canvas. Before we type anything, choose the font you want as well as the size and the color. Next, we'll write a message. Click Ctrl-Command+A to make a selection of the entire canvas. With the Move tool selected, or V on the keyboard, at the top you can use these tabs to align your text perfectly to the center of the canvas. Ctrl-Command+D to deselect. Next, click Ctrl-Command on your text layer to select it. Then click the Layer Mask tab. We've now made a selection of only the text. Then, click G to open up the Gradient tool. At the top, choose a gradient of your choice and then drag it onto your text. We've painted inside of our layer mask. No worries, press Ctrl-Command+Z to undo your mistake. Now click on the layer itself and drag the gradient onto the text. This pop-up says the text needs to be rasterized before editing it. Layers such as Type and Smart layers are vector-based, while Photoshop itself is pixel-based, meaning if we want to edit it, we'll need to rasterize or pixelate it. Right-click on your Type layer and click Rasterize Type. Now paint on your text with a gradient. To add some more pop to the text, let's add a drop shadow. Double-click on the right side of your layer to bring up the Blending Options menu. At the bottom, click the Drop Shadow tab and change the parameters to your liking. Adding a few drop shadows is the best way to make it more realistic. And there you go, we're finished. Now we can save and export our file. Before and after any project, go to File, Save As, and save your project as a .psd file with any name as you're choosing. This is Photoshop's native file and will keep your project and all its layers intact. Next, let's go to File, Save As, and save it as a JPEG. A new dialog box will appear. Here you can change how big the file will be based on its quality. We'll just keep it at its highest quality for now. And finished! You've now completed your first project in Photoshop. Well, that's it, everyone. I hope everybody enjoyed our time together and learned something new today. I know the interface of Photoshop can be intimidating, but a lot of it is very straightforward, and you get in the flow of only using a few certain tools over and over again and see it really is that simple. Keep in mind you should strive to learn how the tools work, not how something is done when it comes to Photoshop. If you learn and understand what each tool does properly, then there's nothing in Photoshop you won't be able to do. Thank you for being here with us at Faded Neon. I'm Zach Hefner. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more weekly tutorials, as well as follow us on all social medias, and I'll see you next time.